West Terrace Cemetery is South Australia's oldest cemetery, first appearing in Colonel William Light's 1837 plan of Adelaide. The 68-acre site is located in Park 23 of the Adelaide Parklands, just southwest of the city centre. It was originally known as Adelaide Public Cemetery and is divided into a number of sections for various communities and faiths, which include 2 Catholic sections as well as Jewish, Afghan, Islamic and Quaker sections. In 1902, the first crematorium in the Southern Hemisphere was built at the cemetery. It began operating in 1903. For the next 20 years, this was the only crematorium in Australia. A number of famous and important South Australians are buried in the cemetery. With over 150,000 interments, there would be many buried there that are not considered famous or important, but still have amazing stories to tell. Come with us as we take a walk through that amazing historic cemetery and have a look at the headstones that come in every variation you can imagine. We're at the West Terrace Cemetery in Adelaide, and there are so many gravestones here I wouldn't even know where to start. So what I thought I'd do is just have a look at some of the really interesting looking ones, like these two parked right on the edge of the roadway here. In loving memory of James H. King, who died March 20th, 1886, aged 16 and a half years, and George, the beloved husband of Catherine M. King, died 1897, aged 32 years. So it's literally right on the edge of the roadway. I can only imagine they must have somehow moved some of these, like this one. It's broken. You can see the edge of the tar there. It says the beloved wife, Mary, of William S. Hill, died 1903, aged 28. So we'll just go for a bit of a walk down here. It's a bit late in the day at the moment. Unfortunately, there's one here right on the edge of the roadway. William Delaney, died 1883. The whole headstone is just broken into pieces and laying on the side of the road. Looks like maybe a car's run into it, or something's run into it, which is pretty sad. I did see some interesting ones down this way. There's another one right on the edge of the roadway here. Thomas Purtill and Bridget Purtill, 1915. This one here, a lot of through here have actually started caving in. This one's Margaret Carter, died 1914, aged 80, and Edwin Carter, 1931. It's crazy. This is really hard to know what to even look at here because there's just so many. So I'll have a look at this one because it's got a particularly beautiful cross on it. Sacred to the memory of James Walsh, who was called to deliver up his soul into the hand of him who gave it on the 21st of August 1882, aged 36 years. It's an interesting epitaph on that one. Also in loving memory of Mary Jane Walsh, wife of James Walsh, who died 16th of May 1922, aged 72 years. Also Patrick James Walsh, beloved son of the above, who died on the 22nd of October 1888, aged 18 years. May their souls rest in peace. That's a pretty big headstone there. I can see down this way, I can see some really big angel ones with angels on the top. So I've decided I'm just going to have a look at some of the symbols and things on these because really I have no idea. I actually want to have a look where the Somerton man's buried, but I'm not even sure if he's been reinterred yet after the DNA investigation they've been doing. This one's Tob Edwin North Roach, who died May 31st, 1880, aged 54 years, erected by his beloved wife Matilda Roach. That one's unfortunately just completely caved in. As you can see, there's so many of them that have just collapsed. This is really a huge cemetery here. I can't imagine how many acres it must be. Probably 100. This one's got an interesting picture on it, carved into it, in affectionate remembrance of Margaret, the beloved wife of Michael Walsh, who died 1879, aged 45 years, leaving her husband and 8 children to mourn their loss. Wow, 8 children. And then there is the children of the above that died in infancy, Thomas, Ellen and Daniel, erected by the beloved husband Michael Walsh, both of Charleville, County of Cork, Ireland. May she rest in peace. That's pretty sad, isn't it? So she had 3 infant children that died and she left 8 children. Wow. That would be a hard road for her husband. I'm a little confused about the way the graves face in this cemetery. Generally graves would face east, and I believe most of these would be facing east, but there is some sections here which I can see that face the complete opposite way. So these ones are all facing east, but down the back over there, which I'll take a walk in a minute, actually face, well, if this is east, they must be facing south, which is kind of unusual. This one here is in loving memory of Michael Clancy, 1886, 53 years. And there's also a smaller headstone in this plot. It says Mary Hakendorf, died 1889. Also Jens and Thomas, sons of the above. So that's very interesting. I'll just go for a walk down this way. I think I'll have to come back here tomorrow and actually check this out a bit further. I'll see if I can find a map tonight and see where the different notable graves are. That's the graves here. They seem to face every which way, which I think is really different. I haven't seen that before in any of the smaller graveyards. This one here looks like the angel's lost her arm, which is laying there on top of the pot, in loving memory of James Alexander, the beloved husband of Katie Hyman, who died 1908, aged 29. Our Bob, says Robert E.P. Hyman, much loved son of the above, died 1929, aged 28 years. And then Katie, who erected this monument, also is there, died 1st of October 1971 at 92 years. I mean, these graves are so close together here, you can't barely even walk between them. This one here, also, it's a large angel. He's lost his arm as well. I don't know if it's an angel, that one. It's got a star on the head and robes, but no wings, so I don't think it's an angel. Not sure who it is. It says, to the sacred memory of Margaret, dearly beloved wife of William John Fitzgerald, died March the 22nd, 1922, aged 59 years, rest in peace, a devoted wife and mother. Very few spots where you can actually walk between, because they're just so tightly put together here. this beautiful big tree here. Looks like I don't really know what it is. It could be an evergreen magnolia. As you can see how close they all are in this older section of this cemetery. We have this one is Bernard McMahon, August 18th, 1900, age 52. Also Catherine, also Cecilia, youngest daughter of the above. Also Catherine Agnes, who died on the 9th of August 1938. This one's nice. It's got the dove and the ivy on the actual headstone. And it says, in loving memory of John Joseph, beloved infant son of William and Catherine Forrest, who passed away 16th of August 1910, aged 15 months, another little angel at the throne of God. And also William, the husband of Catherine, is buried there as well. This grave here is just so tight between the other two. I don't think I've ever been to a cemetery where the graves are so close together. Beloved husband James Murphy, beloved husband of Ellen Murphy, who died at Henley Beach in 1910. So, you know, these graves are getting up well over 100 years old now. This is the one I could see from the distance. It's like a shepherd maybe on top. I'm not sure who that's meant to depict. It's got staff. It says, sacred to the memory of Mary, dearly beloved wife of Joseph Maley, who died 12th of March 1911 in her 44th year. Long days and nights she bore her pain to wait for the cure that was all in vain, but God alone, who thought it best, did ease her pain and give her rest. Erected by her loving husband, and also Joseph Maley, which is her husband, is buried in there as well. He was buried in 1927. That tree has absolutely grown and knocked some of those headstones over there. Some really beautiful headstones in here though. We've come back to the West Terrace Cemetery in Adelaide this morning. The weather's much nicer, not as cold. It is Father's Day though, so there's quite a few people coming in and out. So we're going to walk down over this other side and see if we can find the grave of the Somerton man, who has since been identified as Carl Webb since they did their DNA investigation. There's a couple of really nice graves here. Maybe a bit hard to see over here in the shadows, but it's in memoriam Thomas, dearly beloved husband of Sarah Atkinson, died April 22nd, 1893 in his 71st year. And then also Sarah, so his wife is also buried there. And then we've got Thomas Henry, beloved husband of Rachel Emily Atkinson, passed away in his 74th year in 1933, peacefully sleeping. So let's go for a walk up here and see if we can find this plan A. Yeah, this one here is huge. This one here, as you can see, it's a very tall monument. It has a draped urn on the very top of it, but it's a massive monument here right up close to the front of the cemetery. And it's for, this side says, in loving remembrance of Jane Eva Harbick, born November 1869, died July 1916. Also Adolf Richard Harbick, husband of the above, died 1946. Carl Julius, son of above, died 1965 at Rest Geelong, Victoria, so that must be a remembrance for him. And then over this side we've got Carl Julius Harbick, dearly beloved husband of Ernestina Harbick, and then Ernestina's in there as well. And there's also the sister of Carl Julius, Doris Ernestina Harbick. Look at the beautiful tiles around this. There's some really beautiful tiles around the base here of this one, and some quite ornate wrought iron as well. And then round this side we've got Augusta Bertha Harbick, died in 1916. So we'll walk over here and have a look at these.
See, they're not all buried here, look.
Yes, that's right, buried at
Buried.
Enfield Cemetery.
Yeah.
I see that, they've just put them on there as part of the family remembrance. That's a massive monument. So I had a bit of a read about this cemetery last night, and apparently there's 150,000 burials here. This one's interesting. It says in loving memory of Horatio Thomas Whittle, born in 1826 and died in 1899. The rest is silence. Also Caroline Whittle, wife of the above, died in 1899. In childhood, in youth, through lives allotted span, ever and always one. They were lovely and pleasant in their lives, and in their death they are not divided. Also Anna Maria Prince, beloved wife of Richard C.W. Nitschke and daughter of the above. So that's a nice one. We'll walk over here and have a look at what they've done. Oh, here we go. This is that one that's on the all the brochures. You see a lot of brochures about the Adelaide Cemetery, and this headstone here, because it's such a beautiful one, I'm guessing, it looks like an angel holding a rose. And it says, in loving remembrance of Ada Sarah 80, the dearly beloved wife of William Thomas Tampion, died April 1904, aged 42 years. It says, tender and true, graceful, tactful, self-sacrificing, brave-hearted and wise. Not speech nor silence, nor the marble sigh of art, nor all that lonely grief has writ in tears, nor life nor time nor love's half death can tell the loss, O sweetheart mine. William Thomas Tampion, husband of the above, died 1905, so they're actually both in there. But it's a beautiful monument. For that one. Isn't that beautiful? You can see where they use it on a lot of for their brochures.
Look at this one down here.
It says here on the side, behind the shadows standeth God. So near unto thy dear dead face, my own, I bend and marvel at the wondrous grace that death and death doth lend so close within my own. I hold thy wasted hand, so strangely white and icy cold with lies. Last sand, thou dearest best of earth's best friends, thou faithful heart, can it be thus life's love ends? That kindred part, thou who so longed for peace and rest, have rest at last. Could thy lips speak, 'twould be 'tis best journeys past. So that's written on the side of that beautiful grave. Well, I'm still walking around looking to see if I can find the grave of the Somerton man. I'm not having much luck at the moment. He's not actually marked on the maps that I had available to me at the front gate. I headed down here because I thought he might have been where this yellow tape is over here. But that is Lydia Dyer, who died at Adelaide in 1894. Aged 62 years. At rest also Charles Dyer. So I'm not quite sure why that one's taped off. Doesn't look to be like there's any problems compared to some of the others, but there must be a reason. Yeah, there's a rather large one over there we might go and have a look at while we're here. They seem to be back to back, a lot of these graves, so I'm wondering if that's, well, it clearly is why some of them face east and some of them face west. Because of room, they've actually put the graves back to back so they could have pathways going between them. I think it's just a matter of space because there is over 150,000 burials in this cemetery, so it's massive. This one says this is a Masonic burial. In memoriam, William Darby, 1867 to 1924, and Selina Elizabeth, his loved wife, 1898. You're united. Emily, beloved wife of George Darby, in loving memory of Ellen Mary Nee Darby, loved wife of Arthur Irwin Button, and mother of Barbara, Margaret, Edna and Rita. Died in 1950, so that one's obviously been added at a later stage. You see some of these are really broken up. Not sure it's because they get a lot of water. I'm not sure if there's been any earth tremors in Adelaide that would make the concrete break apart the way it does. But they're certainly, a lot of these are in a very bad state. Loving memory of Annie Moody, who died at Norwood, 1893. Not dead to us, we love her still, not lost but gone before. She lives with us in memory still and will forevermore. I've seen that epitaph on quite a few headstones over the time. This one over here is quite interesting. Go for a walk through here. Yeah, I think I could spend 6 weeks in here and not cover even part of this cemetery. This one is in loving memory of my dear son Lorenza Page, who died in 1882. A tribute of love and honour to my dear son Private H.K. Page, Eddie, late 48th Battalion, killed in action in the Battle of Passchendaele, October the 12th, 1917. Behind the shadows standeth God. Also Sarah Hamilton Page, born at Ayrshire, Scotland, 1851, and died in 1920. It says peace, perfect peace. Alfred Page, loved husband of the above, born in Adelaide, 1849, died suddenly June 20th, 1920. In the midst of life, we are in death. There's another one next to them saying peacefully sleeping. And then this one, Oriel Edith Miller, Nee Page, died in 1957. It is not to die when we live in the hearts of those we love. That's the truth too. There's some headstones there, like this one. It's sandstone, so the weather over time has taken the inscription from it. Grass is getting a bit long through some of this area. There's a lot of graves over here under this tree. The tree's taken over, that's for sure, but there's several headstones underneath it. Jeannie Borthwick, 1920. God giveth his beloved sleep. There's definitely a few headstones under this tree. Some of them are hard to read. Sarah Wadham died in 1892, and her husband. It says lead kindly light. William Caldwell, 1920, at Avenue Road, Frueville, late of Honiton, York's Peninsula. Amongst all of these old ones, suddenly you'll get a fairly new one. Generally they're in a family plot. This one says, in sad but loving memory of Sergeant Will Brown, 27th Battalion, who fell in France, November 5th, 1916, aged 23 years. The beloved son of Ellen and the late William Brown. Greater love hath no man than to lay down his life for his friends. Well, isn't that the truth? War. How many good people have we lost over the years because people want to fight these battles? sacred to the memory of my dear husband and father, William Brown, who passed away 1916, aged 52. Erected by his sorrowing wife, Ellen Brown, and children. O come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. O come, all ye faithful. O come ye to Bethlehem. And also his wife, who erected the monument, who's also there. Here's another one where a massive tree, a tree's been planted. I guess it means that, you know, it'll always be marked, but really some of these trees are huge to have planted in a grave. It might be a bit hard to see, but it says, in loving memory of T.W. Werner, 1892, 27 years. John Fox, grandfather of the above, 1894. It says, call not back the dear departed, anchored safe where storms are o'er. On the borderland we left them, soon to meet and part no more. Looks like this one here, William Henry Leake, and his cross is down on the ground. The headstone's just poking out of the ground there. Here we go, got a couple of friendly ducks here, having a walk around, pecking in the grass. Some beautiful gum trees here. Makes a nice shady resting place for some of these people. Some of these graves have literally sunk into the ground. Look at this one. This is Horace Batt. Not much of this left. In memory of James Gibson, died 1920, aged 60 years. You know, the thing I find a little unusual is that a lot of these graves that were put here in the early 1900s, 1920 and that, have not fared well at all. Right through this section, I'm guessing it may be tree roots that's upended a lot of them. But there's a lot of older graves here that are in really good condition. Must be where they are in the cemetery. Maybe there's no tree roots uprooting them. This one here has had a beautiful tiled base on it at one stage. It's gone now. It's William Madden, who died suddenly May the 1st, 1893, aged 51 years. And then Elizabeth Ellen Mitchell, beloved wife of Henry Mitchell, and dearly beloved and only child of W&E Madden. So he has his daughter there. Also William Madden, beloved husband of Elizabeth Madden. Well, I think I've finally found path 12, which is where the Somerton man is supposed to be. So we'll walk up this way. It says path 12. So hopefully, it's supposed to be grave 106. So we shall have a look and see what we can find. There's obviously no numbers on any of them, so it's a bit hard to work out which end of path 12 it'll be. There's a couple of nice headstones here. Both of them have got the doves with the sprig of olive in their beak. George Kemp. Also Charles. Suffer the little children to come unto me in his 4th year. Interesting font on some of these too. Elizabeth Fellows, age 86 years. We bring our years to an end, as it were a tale that is told. Also Edward Fellows. There's obviously some graves missing through here. Now I know they did remove the Somerton man from his grave in May. I think it was last year in May 21. So they could do their DNA because they thought they'd actually found a relative after a man in Adelaide, a professor in Adelaide's been searching for a long time, and so they did remove him from the grave. I'm hoping that he's been returned now. See if I can find him. In loving memory of Frank Rule and Eliza Charlotte. It's a beautiful font on some of these, and also their mother at rest. This one here is a huge cross. It says, in memory of Kohler, George C.W., 1865 to 1942, beloved husband of the late Carol, and also George, the loved son of above. That's a beautiful big cross on that one. This one's got I don't know if you can see that, but it's got an anchor carved into the rock. My dear mother Pauline Harris, I think it is, 1919. It's got a cross on the ground there, which obviously has come off the top, but then it's got an anchor carved into the marble just at the top, which is whether or not something to do with ships or boats or whatever. This one here is another. This one here, in loving memory of Private Cleve Brisbane, late 27th Battalion, Australian Infantry Forces, beloved husband of Marion, died 1919 after 3 years of active service, age 25. Must have been so hard when your husband was sent away to war, that's for sure. This is an interesting one here with the two open books. Bertha and Frank Walland, I think, is their surname, 1919. This one here looks like it's been redone, this grave. It says Walter John Whistle, 4th Secretary of the Police Association of South Australia, assaulted on duty and died on the 24th of June 1919, age 37. A hero and icon revered for his commitment to the police cause and the powerful impact he made in the earliest days of the Australian police unionism, dedicated on the 7th of December 2011. So it looks like when they did that, they put a new plaque and a nice new granite or marble surround. which is really good. This one, we're back under this tree, or another tree, in loving remembrance of Robert Ralph Hayes. Died aged 26 years. Blessed are the dead which die in the Lord. I'm really hoping to come across this Somerton man. I feel like I'm in the right aisle. This is Thomas Allen. Memory of Justin Garson. There's another one from France. Native of Montereau, France. Died 1889, aged 41 years. So Justin. I thought that was a more modern name, but obviously not. Maybe it's French. Here's another one of these ones. It's got in affectionate remembrance of Florence Eos, the beloved wife of Reverend A. G. Fry, died on the 4th July 1919, aged 58. A minister's true helpmeet. And Alfred George Fry, a workman needing not to be ashamed. It's also got that anchor carved into the stone at the top. Phoebe, beloved wife of Henry Townsend, and also Phoebe is in there as well. I can see a plaque up here, so I'm thinking that maybe I'm coming up to the Somerton man. Oh no, this has a plaque. It's not the Somerton man, and you can see that the grave is pretty much not there. It says Johanna Brans, 1854 to 1899. In the late 19th century, Adelaide had more prostitutes per capita than Sydney. Johanna Brans was one of them. Joanna had a hard life. When she was 19, she was disowned by her parents for giving birth out of wedlock and abandoned by the child's father. 2 months later, she married Charles Brockman and had another baby. Her abusive husband soon turned them out onto the streets. Women like Johanna had few options. Homeless, with no educational skills and no husband to support her, the only respectable work she could obtain was domestic service or taking in laundry. Both were physically demanding, poorly paid and hard to manage, with 2 children in tow. So like her 2 sisters, Johanna turned to prostitution to survive. Joanna's life spiraled into chaos. She collected a string of convictions for drunkenness, loitering and indecent language. The authorities confiscated her children and she never saw them again. They falsely told Joanna that her daughter had died when she had actually been adopted. Joanna bore a 3rd child, who as a newborn was imprisoned with her. He died in infancy. A desperate life on the streets took its toll. She succumbed to tuberculosis, dying on New Year's Eve in 1889. Wow, now that is a hard life. So she has no headstone, but they obviously know this plot is where she's buried. So not the Somerton man, but another interesting story. Well, I'm having a bit of a time trying to find this Somerton man grave. Interesting some of the way these headstones are written. This one says, in memoriam, Donald McNichol, fourth son of Donald McNichol of Glasgow, Scotland, who was interred here April 5th, age 1889, aged 31 years. They had all different ways of expressing their grief. This one here, in memory of my dear wife Anna Matilda Westphalen, died April 29, 1919, age 42. August Peter Westphalen died on 9th of April 1942, rolling home across the sea, SLSA, with the anchor. So obviously a seaman of some sort. I don't know where David is. I seem to have lost him in amongst all these headstones. This one says David Bray Berry of Auburn, who died 16th of April 1890, age 66. Not lost but gone before. Also Susanna Berry, beloved wife of above, who died July 2nd, 1911, aged 86 years, a colonist of 60 years. So she must have come out when she was about 26. Now this one's a nice one here. In loving remembrance of Anthony Eldridge, late of Hastings, Sussex, England, and beloved husband of Sophia Eldridge, who died 1889, aged 27. Must Jesus bear the cross alone and all the world go free? There's a cross for everyone, and there's a cross for me. And Sophia Eldridge, obviously his wife, beloved wife of the above, who fell asleep on November the 22nd, 1923. I think that's an interesting one. It has a interesting design on the top there. I haven't seen like that. It looks like swords. Maybe it's part of a crest or something like that they've had put there. This one is W.B. Beer. Father, we shall often miss you as we sit and talk at home, but in heaven we hope to meet you where no partings ever come. In amongst this tree here, all these roots have upended these headstones. It's a beautiful big tree, but they surely do some damage. I seem to have gone from one end of row 12 to the other here, and I'm still not seeing, I haven't come across the Somerton man as yet. But I'll continue on, just in case he's at the last grave. Look, possibly a German stone, yeah. Is there Marie Frederick, love wife of HFR Bering, who died 1889, also Wilhelm, infant son of the above, who died 1888. And the husband, Rudolf Bering, beloved husband of the above, died 1923. Also Minna Franziska, daughter of the above, 1938. I'm not sure that row 12, it says down here, stories of the everyday, it says path 12, Joanna Brands, that was the one I saw, plan 3, 54M, I'm guessing that means 54 metres. So that's definitely row 12, but I have not come across the Somerton man in row 12. So what I looked up, maybe it's incorrect. You know, I'm really starting to wonder if the Somerton man's headstone and what have you has been taken away until he's reinterred, because I'm definitely in path 12 here. And from what I remember, when I saw them doing, when they disinterred his body, they were standing in front of a large tree. And I'm just looking here thinking maybe this was where it was, but I can't see any numbers to actually know where he would be. So I'm thinking maybe they've taken the sign down and what have you until he's reinterred, but I'll keep having a bit more of a look and see what I can find.